This year's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is heading towards a crazy three-way battle, but the real question is, can it exceed the madness of 2021? If you don't know what happened that night, let me fill you in. But before I get into that, this is Anmol and you're watching Turn 1 Bandit. After a very tight season, we find Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton tied on the same points. Now whoever wins the race takes the championship. For Max, it will be his first. For Lewis, it will be his 8th. The race begins. Max tries an aggressive move on Lewis early on, but he escapes that and comfortably wins the race. That is what we would have expected and which should have happened. But at lap number 53 begins the drama which would write itself in history of the sport, and mind you, for all the wrong reasons. On lap number 53, Nicholas Latifi finds himself in the wall and brings out a safety car. Now Verstappen decides to go in the pits to get rid of his used mediums and go on the soft, but Lewis Hamilton did not do that, because as it looked at the time, the race would have ended under the safety car, meaning Lewis would have easily won. If he had come into the pits as well, Verstappen would have gained the position and then would have easily won the championship under the safety car. And everybody would have trolled Toto and Mercedes, which they avoided by making the right call, which was not pitting Lewis. But then something crazy happened, as the race director Michael on lap number 57 said that the cars between Lewis and Max should unlap themselves. Now here's the thing, according to the rule book, either all the cars should unlap themselves under a safety car or none of them. It does not make any sense to select 5 handful cars which are between the first position driver and the second position driver, but in the end whatever the race director decides has to happen, and it did. The cars between Lewis and Max were allowed to unlap, which would still mean with 1 lap to go, Lewis would have ended the race under a safety car on the first position and Max was not allowed to overtake because there's a safety car still deployed, right? But okay, for a second, let's keep the fact aside that Michael decided the 5 cars between Max and Lewis should unlap themselves. But again, no, another controversial decision comes from the race director, which was not to be found in the F1 handbook, which was the safety car would come in the same lap so that Max and Lewis can get at least 1 clean lap of pure racing between them. Well, Mr. Michael, if you wanted a clean ending to the race, then you should have brought out a red flag, stopped the race and then give 5 laps of clean racing now. But again, it happened with 1 lap to go. Lewis on old hard tires, Max Verstappen on fresh soft tires. For Max, it was relatively easy to overtake Lewis and then win the championship. Now, Max is clearly not to be blamed here, and Lewis said that himself. He even congratulated Max Verstappen on his first world title. It was clearly the FIA fault, the race director Michael, which eventually was fired, and the FIA later releases a statement that it was a human error, but the race results will not be changed. It's been 4 years, the fans have moved on as well, but now that you know the full story, do you still believe the 3-way championship is going to be more interesting than 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix finale? Don't forget to follow Turn 1 Bandit for more such videos. I'll see you in the next one.